Hello. Hi. Welcome to the Well and Calm Studios podcast with your host, me. Hi, Rachel Harrington. So glad you decided to join us today. We're going to talk about wellness, we're going to talk about online business, and we're going to talk about wealth consciousness because, we all want to have that life that we want, have the time freedom that we want, not look at the price tags when we don't want. So let's chat. Let's build that business. Let's hang out. Collaboration is always more fun than competition. We want to see you succeed. We want to be there with you. Let's do this. In today's episode, we have Dr. Joe Watkins and Polly Crook. So they have created a membership for females, so girls in between 11 and 16 who want some extra mentorship, want some extra happiness, want some more opportunities to work on their well-being. And it is such a great thing to have created. And I'm so happy that they are my guests today. So without further ado, here's the How People. Hi, everyone. So welcome back to the Well and Calm Studios podcast. I'm Rachel Harrington, your host today. And today I have the How People. We have Polly and we have Joe. I'm so excited to have them on. Full disclosure, they also have been clients in the past. So I absolutely love seeing them grow and change and evolve their online business and as parents. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no worries. So tell me a little bit about yourselves and about your business.
Well, we run what is now a digital hub for teenage girls. We currently run a growing digital membership, but we are starting with courses that we run ourselves, courses that we host for coaches. We run workshops, and yesterday we ran our first sort of full day parenting seminar. So we focus around the teenage girl, everything that they need to develop their own happiness, take opportunities, and have really good, healthy well-being.
Nice. So HOW actually stands for something.
It certainly does. It stands for happiness, opportunities, and well-being.
Love it. Not just like how to be a teen or how to be a parent.
No.
But then that does come in quite handy with a lot of the courses we do, like how to help, how to grow your self-confidence, how to, we do some outdoor stuff as well. So how climbing, how to surf, it kind of works quite well.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about how your business started and how it's evolved.
Well, that's totally over to you.
Well, I'm a GP by trade, and I have a 14-year-old daughter. So I've kind of seen her grow and develop, and seen the struggles that teenagers are having at the moment from being a family doctor as well. We took a period of time out with our 4 children and travelled, which made a few huge shifts for us as a family. It gave me an opportunity to sit back and work out exactly what I wanted to do. That was the point in time that I started absorbing podcasts, learning a huge amount about how I could start operating potentially an online business that would give me flexibility to travel with my family. So that became a really, really important part of what I wanted to do.
And I would say slightly obsessive.
Slightly obsessive. we have to blame James Wedmore, but if it wasn't for James Wedmore, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today, because that's a big connection for Rachel and I. Mm-hmm. So I became completely obsessed with this idea that I could work for myself and work from anywhere and have some freedom, but also to be able to run a business that worked completely in line with my passions and my values. And at that point, we were homeschooling our children, and I realized the education system was failing our children miserably. and that actually they need to be taught in a different way, which led into online learning for them. So this whole sort of thing evolved over the time I was away. And by the time we got to Canada, which was the stop before we came home, we were there, and my daughter went on a 6-week course, which was all about self-confidence and role models. And it was absolutely brilliant. And I just thought, God, I wish that happened at home. I wish we could do something like that. So I came home and came pretty much straight round here, didn't I? Because you know, Polly and I go back an awfully long way, but we've always wanted to do something together, and we always knew we would. And our husbands once suggested that would be a good idea, didn't they?
And they've been regretting it ever since.
Yeah, so I came around here and I was like, look, what about this? Because this is what we need. And she was like, God, this is absolutely what we need. So that's how it sort of started. And then it's developed from there. I mean, do you want to take over from that point?
Yeah, I mean, when Jo came to me with the idea, we're both like really similar but really different in lots of different ways. And I think as soon as she explained the idea to me, I knew that it would have had a huge impact on me growing up. And actually, that's what we've heard from nearly all of the parents, and all the feedback has been, "Oh my God, why did this not exist before now?" So really, for me, it was, I've always been very confident, but I lacked in self-confidence growing up, for a few reasons, but mainly I was pretty rubbish in school. I found it quite hard for like the academic side of school. And back then, I'm talking about like it was 50 years ago, but back then you were, and especially the school I went to, you passed exams or you were good at sport, or you pretty much had to be good at both to do anything. And that's kind of how you would find your path. And then if you weren't really anything, then if like good at academia, then that was it really. So I always felt like I wasn't going to achieve much in life because of the fact that I was never going to pass an exam. And I proved myself right, and I actually only passed with 3 GCSEs, which is pretty heartbreaking at the time, because you feel like your whole life builds to that point where you get your GCSEs and that decides the rest of your life. Whereas now I am a sort of adult, I realize that that's actually not the case. And it's all of the skills around growing up, all of the skills that you could possibly build that are the important ones. And that's not what's taught. So for me, I really struggled up until that point. And then I met an amazing role model who completely changed my life. And she wasn't a cool, young, role model that I could like look up to in that way. I always explain her, I saw her a little bit like Nora Batty, she wore a pleated skirt and wrinkly tights. And she wasn't this cool kind of nice, like trendy sort of person, but she completely changed my world in seeing straight through me. And she told me that I was confident, but I didn't have any self-confidence. And it blew my mind, which just really, it shouldn't be something so simple that takes you until you're 16 to have that explained to you. So as soon as Jo was telling me about the idea, I was like, wow, these softer skills, those things that you need, communication, collaboration, knowing that you can get on in life without being able to pass exams, just was like, right, I'm in, tell me where to sign up. And the rest of it's really evolved. So we started with something local to here in South Wales, a 6-week course on the beach where we covered photography and well-being and communication and surfing. We always talked about environmental impact. We always did beach cleans, just to sort of try it out and see what the girls wanted. But we always used journaling and scrapbooking as well to kind of put things down on paper. And then as soon as the 6-week course finished, everyone was like, right, what next? Like, I want to go again. I want more. So we did a talks night for teenage girls specifically. We had 4 speakers against the clock. And they had 10 minutes each, and they had to tell their story of who they are, how they got there. And it was just amazing watching this. Like, the room was on fire, watching these girls just light up with the opportunity of hearing stories from normal people, and not Instagram influencers or, celebrities or whatever, actual normal people doing cool jobs and telling them their struggles and what they overcame. And then the pandemic hit.
Well, no, the plan was to take them down the M4, wasn't
it? We planned it, we booked it in 3 other places along the M4. We had Cardiff, Bath and Bristol booked. And we were nearly sold out. And then it was April, and then everything was gone. So
that's the interesting bit in terms of the online course, because at that point we were working with Rachel to get Kajabi up and running, to get a website up and running, to start doing a mini course, but despite the fact we were local and we were doing live events, I knew that I wanted an online business. I didn't want to be tied locally. And that's, one of the differences is that, Polly's more, you've grown up here, whereas I want to live in a slightly different way, and I had my eye on that, but I didn't know how that was going to work. So Rachel was helping us form a mini course, and our plan was really to do that in a year's time or something. We were just going to have it on the back burner, and then obviously the pandemic hit and we had to cancel all our live events, as Polly was just saying. So we basically had no business, we had no events, and we had a very, very small list at that point. So we were kind of not sure really what to do. And then a bit more absorbing of podcasts and listening to James, listening to Stu McLaren, listening to Amy, finding out about memberships and online courses. And we just thought, you know what? I think this is a membership. Let's try the whole founding members launch thing, because we need to grow our audience to be able to offer courses to people. So we went down that line, and we very quickly. We do tend to do things very quickly. I think it was a 2-week window or something, and poor Rachel was dragged along for the ride. But we did some free charity-based talks nights with 9 speakers. We raised £1,800 for charity, and we did some brilliant live events, and we thought, you know what, let's just go with this. So
which was all on Zoom. We've tried doing a 2:00 and a 7:00, because at this point there's no kids in school, and the schools really weren't putting anything decent out or anything at all.
The content was just not there, so people loved it. So then we went for a founding members launch, and we did that at the end of May 2020, and we got our 50 founding members. So we got, I know it was very exciting. We got obviously we
sold out.
Yeah, we did. We had some friends of friends that bulked things up, but we had a good number of that were completely new to us. I think 50% were new people to our world, and we've basically grown since then. It's been tough. I think it's safe to say it's been tough. There is no rule book on how to do this, and if you're a complete course obsessor like I am, I just need to learn from people around me that have done it before, because this is just a new world. I mean, to people in the online business, it's not a new world, but to everybody outside of that, it is. And that's why learning from others is so valuable. We've done various things. We've done a challenge, we've done a couple of events, we've launched quietly, we've launched loudly, but at the end of the day, we've realized that we've been reselling the same program to the same people up until about January. Our list hadn't grown dramatically. I mean, who knew it was so hard to build an email list? Who knew you had to put so much time into it, be so clever with what you're doing, be so deliberate and planned. And when you're juggling other jobs, and children and family life and everything else, it's
a pandemic.
It's actually quite difficult to put the time into doing that. And then suddenly you're like, okay, let's launch again. Oh, look, we're selling to the same people. They've either bought, they don't want it, or they're going to buy in a year's time, and therefore you're not growing quickly. So our growth hasn't been huge during the year, but we've now got, what have we got? I think 70, we probably should know this, 70 something. So we've had some drop off, some come.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just monthlies. We've got annual members, we've got 6 monthly members, and then we want to keep this monthly recurring revenue stream to support and make our business watertight,
but also building to an appropriate price as well, because we had to start with a founding price.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the price has been, but I like the idea of, from from a wealth point of view and from a financial viability point of view, what we want to grow is a membership that is covering our business costs, covering our enabling us to have a coach, to have a VA, to have interns that we're paying to do extra stuff for us, have a videographer, have an editor, pay ourselves. That's what I would like the membership to do. No, but this is the business aim would be for the membership to do that, and then for us to grow our courses. And until we've got the membership doing that, then we have to put those shiny things away and keep plugging away, really.
Yeah, building that bridge to the island instead of building multiple bridges.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of bridges in the like half-built stage here that but yeah, we've got to build the bridge.
Nice. Wow, that's so inspiring to others who have all these ideas, always want to be helping people, but they just don't know like how to turn that into something physical or something online. You guys have done both. So definitely commend you for that. And also speaking to your client is actually twofold, because your client is the child who you're helping, the teenage girl, and your client is also their parent, because they have to open their wallet. They have to trust you with their child. The child has to trust you that, you're not some authority figure that's going to tell them something and them, have to do something weird or something like that. As a kid, I was always a little apprehensive of going to things and not knowing people. And it seems like you guys really hold the space for them to grow and change. And also
something quite new and unknown. I think that's the thing, and it has definitely been a hard balance, the language that we use, especially on social media.
We haven't got that right yet, I would say.
But it's going to be pretty much impossible to get it right unless we decide one or the other.
Absolutely.
Or we decide our different channels. So we're talking to the parents on Facebook, we're talking to the younger people on Instagram, in which case we've kind of come across as a little bit like schizophrenic.
Yeah, but this is where it's really, really hard. I think you've hit the nail on the head. We've got two different audiences, which is why yesterday we focused for the first time on delivering something to the parents. So we've grown a free Facebook group, which is just parents of teenage girls. We offered something yesterday to parents of teenage girls, because we need those people to be the people that we're then selling the membership to. And that's the first time we've done that. And so we don't know how that's going to pan out.
But it's finding those parents and having the time to find those parents. We've started using Facebook ads in the last couple of months, but it's really hard to work out where you are with that and what you want to invest and how much you get back and the risk to take. But without any risk, you're not going to find the new followers. And I think that's the thing, is it's getting your name out there, not just as a new venture, but with a new offer as well. And finding people, where are the parents of teenage girls? How do I find them? How do I grow my list? How do I grow my social media following so people can begin to know, like, and trust us? Unless you end up on like Loose Women or something, then it's going to be an organic and gradual following, and then that will be the same with the email list, and then we'll see that with the membership. But I don't think membership is going to be an overnight instant flurry, because it's all about finding the parents and engaging the girls. But then we think about, 1 year group in one school alone.
Exactly.
So it's,
there's plenty of people out there, but
they don't know about us.
They don't know about us.
And they don't know what we're doing.
No. And yesterday was an example. We could have had thousands at that event, and, it was great. And the idea of running that event, we've done paid tickets, then that money is going back into Facebook ads to get people into the membership. So we're trying to do all of those things. We just need to sort of 10x it, and that will happen. Again, we need to invest in learning, because Facebook ads it's not hard. It's just we don't know about it, and so we need to invest in the right people to tell us what to do, and to guide us.
But also, like you mentioned, interns earlier as well. We've got some interns at the moment, which is great. One of them particularly was just amazing yesterday. But it's that fine balance of knowing when to let go as well. Like, we've always done everything ourselves. So we've always had complete control over everything we're doing. So it's really hard, A, letting go, but B, being able to put the time aside to explain the processes and all of the stuff in the behind the scenes to somebody else when you know you can do it quicker yourself. But if you do everything yourself, you're never ever going to be able to grow and get it done because there's only two of us. So growing a team in this last year has been so important. And there's two people in particularly that we've worked with. One is now our online business manager, and one was an intern that we're now paying to write courses for us. And they have changed how we do stuff now as well. They've been huge assets.
But I think, to be fair on us, that's something we knew was important at the beginning. And I think I ran a business on my own before for 3 years, and I never want to run a business on my own again. It was just really important for me that we did this as a partnership, but also growing a team. And we've got young people now. You've got students helping us. We've got people that we can introduce to the online space, and then introduce to people like you, and introduce to all the resources that we've used. And so hopefully we're going to be able to inspire people in their early 20s and late teens to not just think that it's about university. They can actually learn and do as they're going along and grow their own online business one day.
Yeah, exactly. Paying it forward a bit, right? So you're kind of showing them the path that they can take. That isn't the kind of typical have to go all the way through school, have to get a corporate job.
Exactly. But I think just going back to something you said earlier about, delivering something online and in person, I think what's lovely now is that I just can't wait to get in a room and to fill a room and to run a live event and to have speakers, and it'll just be amazing. And we will always now be able to run maybe hybrid events, etc. But I think for anyone out there that has got an idea of an online business and isn't sure what to do, there are so many ways of giving it a go without a huge outlay of money. It's a low cost entry, and you just need to get out there and listen to the right people. And I think, Rachel is definitely one of those people who'll be able to guide you. And I remember and she hasn't asked me to say this, but I remember the first time we had a conversation, I was in my GP surgery and I was just like, didn't really know what it was all about. And I remember you saying at that time, stop worrying about, and at that point I was worried about turning up on Facebook because of people I've worked with and people I was at school with, and, people like just people knowing what I'm doing. And like, I was really in my head struggling with the fact that I had to show up. And I remember you saying, just think about what would happen to these girls and your ideal client. What happens if you don't do what you think you need to do? Like, how does she benefit from you not running this program and you not turning this into something that she can benefit from? And I was like, yeah, you're right. And actually now, that's what I thought yesterday. I got up yesterday morning and I was like, right, if we didn't do today, none of these people would benefit from hearing these speakers, and you've got to get out of your own way. So if you've got an idea, just go for it and don't think about yourself, think about that other person that you're going to
Yeah, getting out of your own way.
Better done than perfect, because you evolve and you learn and you tweak and you become like instantly better the more you do.
Or the stuff at the beginning, like you look back at it now, like some of our branding and some of our like leaflets, and I'm like, oh my God, who did that? And I'm sure in a year's time we'll look back on what we did like yesterday and go, who did that? So yeah, you've just got to get on with it.
Yeah, it's the beauty of growth too. You can look back and see where you started and where you are now, and then project all of that into the future and all of the new things you're going to learn, and be able to share that back with the parents and the daughters as well. So amazing.
Yeah.
Very,
tweak, repeat.
Yes, test and learn is another one I like to know, because like you said, Polly, done is better than perfect. So there's no such thing as actually being perfect. It usually shows up as an excuse because we're afraid of something, because we have self-doubts, because we have all those self-criticisms that go on in our head. And we're all human, we're built that way. But to kind of actually help people, you need to put yourself out there. And you ladies have. So I love that.
Well, this is the thing, is that like, even with, there's so much of the stuff that came back yesterday off the back of the parenting summit, which was just such brilliant, amazing feedback, because people are there and they're wanting to learn and they're wanting to know more. And a lot of the speakers were saying things like, you know, especially with teenagers, because we still do it as adults, it's, would you say that to your friend when you're talking about yourself or something you've done? And it's so self-critical. Whereas we look back on, it's easy to remember or feel negative about something when we could actually look back on it and go, we already know loads of people got a lot of benefit out of yesterday.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be happier teens because they'll be happier parents. I was definitely nicer to my children this morning. Could be because I didn't see them all day yesterday, but I was definitely calmer, and I was thinking about what I was doing, and I was thinking about them and not me. I was thinking about the way that they were thinking and processing stuff. And normally it's me and why, and like why they don't listen to me. I just, whereas this morning I was like, okay. Zen mother. Yeah, exactly. I really was Zen mother.
Love it. That's
so you know, the little things like that, it's too easy to have a go at yourself and be self-critical, whereas I think actually you can look back on a load of positive stuff that's come out of it, and then know how much more you can learn from it, and then how much better it can be next time.
Yeah, definitely. Tapping into that inner child and just being kind to yourself, and just knowing that you're doing your best and you're trying your hardest, and sometimes taking a step back and relaxing and becoming aware of how you are interacting with your kids and conscious to what they might be picking up from you is really important. So I'm really glad that
that's why it's, you know, Jo said she run a business on her own for 3 years, but that's why I think having a co-founder is so important, because when one is freaking out about something, the other is saying like, we have got this. And when one is going, oh my God, this has just gone totally wrong, we're like, don't worry, I can look at it with a different view and calmly. And we had like a Zoom recording disappear yesterday out of nowhere. We're like, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Where's it gone? And 1 minute I'm like, no, I think we need to panic now. It's not there. It's not there. But I definitely pressed record. And then she's there going like, don't panic, it's totally fine. And then an hour later, have you found the recording yet? I was like, no, it's fine. And it's like the flip and flop of being able to be like little support net.
We are lucky though. We are lucky that we get on the way we do, because I think not everybody, and we've built it together. I think it's really hard. You see, we've seen a lot of people who are running a business for a couple of years and then they look for somebody to join, and that must be really tough. So I think because we've grown it ourselves and we do get on and we are different and we understand we need space, and we, not that you get much space, I'm like in the face, I'm like,
but lots of things. So yesterday we did find the Zoom recording. It was Zoom's fault, not ours, just saying. And the other thing from the Parenting Summit is I learned lots of tips on how to manage hair. One of them was brilliant. It was like how to, you know, really engage with your teenager, and, you know, it doesn't matter how you feel about it, just make sure that you let them know how you're really positive, and never make like faces or anything like that. Do it, just don't get caught. So now, next time she's on one, I've watched 12 podcasts in a row, and I'm like, I'll just go into a cupboard and just be like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we are lucky, and we do laugh as well. And that's the other thing I think that I once heard was just, you know, show up as you. Like, don't try and be like, if you're running a business and it's about, you know, it's got you at the heart of it, which every online business does, just, you can't show up as anything other than yourself. And I think that we just do, and we are the same with the girls as we are with the parents, as we are to each other. And, you know, we're just our own authentic selves, and that seems to transcend the groups. Maybe that's because I'm like mum age and you're a bit cooler, I'm not sure.
I'll take that. But we did have some advice once on a webinar.
You did listen then?
Well. No, I was going to say we had some advice once on a webinar about being more formal and remembering that we're presenting to parents and it's very different to the girls. It was the worst webinar I've ever done. I didn't feel like myself. I was tripping up over myself. I was trying to be someone that I wasn't. And I came off the back of it and I was miserable. I was like, that was rubbish. I hated that, every minute of it. And we just decided that, like, okay, there are different times to be slightly different, but we've always got to be purely us.
Yeah.
And stick to who we are, because we are behind the brand. And It's you know, we're never going to be uber formal. It's just one of those things, and I think that's why it's working and why it's been endearing, and we're approachable and not corporate. Yeah, and I think at this point that's really important.
Yeah, that's a really good point about authenticity. One, just being yourself and showing up as yourself. And like they say, there's no one else there outside like you. So, you're always going to have new insights and new things to share with people in a different way. Even if you are kind of saying the same thing that everyone else is saying, there's always a way that you can say it and somebody else can actually hear it. And the other point that you made there, Polly, was that not all feedback should be taken on board. I know that I get feedback all the time, and I have to decide, is this something I want to actually do? Is this something that is like actually going to push my business forward? Or is this just someone projecting what they think they want for me onto me and onto my brand? So I think knowing when and how to take people's feedback is always something I'm learning and growing through. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So what are the kind of current plans for How? And are you currently doing anything where the girls can come in? How can they kind of contact you and get to know you?
We are relaunching the membership for new members. That will close on the 5th of May. So I'm not sure when this is going out, but we've decided we're going to do a big launch twice a year. So at the end of April and at the end of October, we will then be offering another batch of self-confidence courses. So for any girls that are underconfident, they can do a specific 8-week course. We're going to be doing an entrepreneurship course in September. We're going to be doing a body confidence course. So we're combining with other coaches to offer shorter courses. But the online membership, April and October, and that covers, basically we have different types of sessions. We have a sort of happiness session at the beginning, which is like mentoring, dealing with any problems that any of the girls may have. We split them up into age groups. We have a lot of fun. We do all sorts of things on those calls. Then the opportunity calls are the TED Talks for teens. So we get speakers in to tell us about their story, their journey, their advice to their teenage self. The girls get to ask questions and meet people from different walks of life. And then the well-being is covered in the sessions, normally towards the end of the month. And we take a subject from our core course, which is called the Know-How, and that covers all the kind of well-being and life skills and softer skills for sort of teening and adulting, really. And that's going to be turned into a 12-week course as well from September. Nice. So that's how the membership runs. We have those calls each week on a Thursday between 7 and 8 GMT or BST now. We do want to run that in a time zone that works for America and works for Australia and New Zealand. We'll be doing that probably from September, when there'll be a bit of a shift in our work outside of How. That's the plan. So we can offer that membership to girls all over the world at a time zone that suits them.
Very cool. Expansion, world domination.
Exactly.
Love it. Cool.
Start local, think global.
Yeah, very much so. Start local, think global. So cool. So in a few weeks from this recording, you will be opening. And then the launch process. How do you run your online business launch process?
Well, that's what we've changed each time. That's what we've changed up. This time we have done the parenting summit yesterday, and then we have invited, or we're going to give people the opportunity to come into a call so they can bring their daughter along for a session this Thursday and next Thursday as a bit of a trial. And I think if there were people that were really keen to get involved and they've missed the launch date, then if they send us an email, we can try, if there were a few people, we could try and bring them in together at a later date. What we don't want to do is have people dripping in, because we have to verify everybody. We need to have videos to show that they're a teenage girl. We need to have a process whereby they're coming into a known group of people for safeguarding purposes. So, if you're out there and you've missed the deadline and you're super keen, please just drop us an email. And we have done that. Last time we were able to open the doors, in between launches for interested people, because there were a few people lined up. So, do get in contact with us, because we know that the reality is people are going to find us at different points. But in terms of our big launches, they'll probably be on the back of parenting summits like we've done today, like we've done yesterday. In October, we run a massive week about periods, and we talk about everything to do with periods. So we'll do that before our launch. So we tend to build up to an event, then we launch, and we come in, we have like a welcoming process, and then they come to the call. And then really we've sort of seamlessly bringing them in without making too much of a big deal, because actually teenagers don't want to be like made to stand up and say, hey,
nobody wants to feel like the newbie.
Yeah. So they come in and they feel welcomed, and we've got this lovely mix of ages from 11 to 16. The 16-year-olds help guide the 11-year-olds. The 11-year-olds build the confidence of the middle group, because the 11-year-olds are actually much more verbal. And then some of them dip in, some of them dip out, some of them have videos on, some of them don't.
Some of them watch on catch up on record, some of them come live every week.
Yeah, so it varies. And we have obviously an annual and a 6-month option, as well as a monthly recurring option that you can cancel. You can come in 30 days, cancel, money back guarantee, and you can cancel whenever you want if you're on the monthly. So we're trying to offer something, like you say, with the bridge building. The membership has to be the bridge, but there are the courses that we ran. The self-confidence course we've run with a coach has sold out 3 times, and there's a huge demand for shorter, more specific courses. And we pull a subject from our know-how framework. So self-confidence is one part of it, body confidence is another, entrepreneurship, sleep, nutrition. So we pull a subject from our framework and we bring a coach on board to do a course for that subject. So that's how it works from a business point of view.
That's how it works.
Hilarious.
On brand. Love it. Also, what do you kind of say to the people who are like, oh, well, I have a son, or, this is kind of something I would love to do myself, but I'm 33, how do you kind of, lovingly turn people away, because this is such a great opportunity and they just want to kind of get involved too?
Oh, it is hard, isn't it? We've talked about it so many times. Like, we started with do one thing well. For girls, it's starting with that like transition from primary into secondary school, and then with dropping out of sport hugely at that age. And actually the comfort that the girls get from being in an all-female group at that age is just so powerful. And they've just got this amazing and supportive community where nobody feels like they're going to say something wrong, or they quite like being in a group, in their own group. It is really hard because we're all about inclusivity. We're not saying no to boys forever. We might do how boys, we might do a membership just for boys in the future.
Yeah,
we might do a generic one where everybody is, and it's more webinar based, and it is more like not cameras on, and it is a different kind of thing. But it is really hard at that age to do things together. I think
it's hard to turn people away because that what you've got is an amazing offering. But I think this is the bridge building shiny object thing, and people say to us, when are you going to take our boys surfing? And we did surfing a year ago, and we haven't got, things have evolved, but they don't see that. They just see that and that's really flattering. They just want to get involved. So the boys thing is hard.
I do think it helps that we've both got sons.
Yes, it does help. I'm glad we both have sons. Like, my son needs this so badly at the moment. He's 12. He is just the perfect age for it. So we struggle with that. And there's bits of me that thinks, well, maybe we can find somebody that is a good organizer and somebody that's a coach, and then maybe they could run a boys membership. But the more people we have that we're managing, the harder it is. So until, it's the whole oxygen mask on first, stick to what we're doing, stick to our guns, learn. I need to be then, particularly, I say I, not you, because I'm the one that likes the online business learning, but I need to then train somebody up to be able to do some of the stuff that I do, to hand that off. the 33-year-olds are interesting because you've got the mums that you know, the mums that want to get involved. You know, the mums are like, oh my God, I want to do this. And
even to the point when we were surfing, we ended up having to put mums groups on because they
Yeah.
were like, why is there girls?
Yeah.
So we
so
had
much
like
fun.
a few mums sessions as well. So we were like, yeah, why not?
But what we have done, which has been lovely, is that the speakers that come in are often sort of between 18 and 30, or you know, that 20-something ages, sometimes feeling a bit lost, sometimes out of university, sometimes done a job, not happy, not sure where they're going. And what we've done recently is kind of bring those people together in a bit of a hub 18 to 30s, we've called it. Like, so basically, I've called it. So basically we can kind of mentor and help them. And I'd love to have like a Zoom chat with them every month so that they can meet each other, because we've just met these amazing speakers and people who can support each other. And then, yeah, so we'd love to do that. But again, it's just
time.
It's just time and being, you know, and time is such a rubbish excuse because you've got, you know, you can make time for anything. And it's not an excuse. It's just that the time that we have, we need to invest. Until we're paying ourselves a wage, things can't change. And when we're paying ourselves a wage, then we can alter our working pattern, and then we will release more time. So we have to build something to a point, and something, you know, we mustn't get distracted in the meantime.
Yeah. Being laser focused on your vision, and your vision right now is 11 to 16-year-olds in a membership and also guided courses. And I think that's lovely, because having that vision, sticking to it, monetizing it, making sure that you're serving them to the utmost of your ability, them having their transformations, and then, you know, kind of potentially opening it up or seeing how it evolves, and letting it have the space to grow, but knowing that your core and your niche or your niche to get rich is those 11 to 16-year-olds, and making sure that you are showing up for them and getting them everything that they kind of deserve in the how people.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think that's one of the hardest things, is to turn people down and to say, no, this is what I'm doing, sticking to your guns, and making sure that you build one thing really, really well, and then keep going from there. So it's very commendable.
Well, I think it's really hard, especially when you're full of ideas.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult to do, and you need that constant notebook of ideas. And you actually just want somebody else to do it, which is a weird thing, isn't it? It's you almost want, and we're massive collaborators. I don't see competition anywhere I look anymore, and I don't. And if somebody came along and did exactly what we're doing, I don't think it would faze me at all, because actually we just concentrate on doing us. Nobody can repeat what we're doing, even if they join our membership, copy all our stuff, and go off and call it the Who people. You know, it's not going to be the same. And that's fine. You know, people are always going to try, and none of those people have any idea how hard it is, how much effort and determination you put into growing something. Nobody has a clue. You know, it's much easier. And my husband will tell you that the impact on our family life for me to go and work as a doctor, which took many years of training, the impact on my family is much less than the impact of running a business, because it's never ending. The to-do list never stops. And that's why it's really important to look after your own well-being, to have those moments in your day where you're taking for yourself. You know, Rachel, the way you handle your clients, I think is what I aspire to do, which is, you know, I'll get back to you when I'm ready. And that's what we say to our interns and anyone we work with. We apologize for the late night voice notes and say, please don't even look at it until you're ready. And I think you have to put those boundaries up, especially when you're one-to-one with people. And you're dealing with sensitive issues. We have parents messaging us saying, oh, you know, so-and-so's found it very difficult last week and I'm not sure what to do. And you just can't take all that on board, plus everything else you're doing. So boundaries are super important.
Definitely boundaries. And I know you're both lovers of nature. So I know that you incorporate that into your well-being and your wellness. Nature for me is really important as well.
Yeah, just making the time to get outside. It's too easy to sit at your computer all day.
Great.
What I have learned from this week is to never, ever let Joe have the final say over an agenda, because we didn't even have time for a wee yesterday. No time for lunch, no breaks for dinner, nothing.
No nature calls.
No, there was no.
We ate handsomely in the end.
There was no nature at all. No nature and no nature.
I could have factored in a 1 hour walk. That would have been good.
Yeah.
Next time.
Reset.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes would have been something.
I got overexcited. We could squeeze an Instagram live in there.
I know, in the 4 minutes that we actually did have, she's like, oh, we've got to go live now on something else. I'm like, oh. Like desperately trying to like eat a stale piece of bread. No, you must go on Zoom.
When I spoke to you in the beginning of this, before we kind of went live, balance was one of the things that you guys were kind of striving to and doing. And how do you balance being co-founders? How do you balance being parents of both younger kids and teens, being in relationships, and still being women?
Not very well, I think. I think that would be the honest answer, pretty badly. But it's that like inner feeling that you know it's going to pay off. Like the struggle now with the idea of what you think it'll be like when it works.
What you know it'll be like.
When you know it'll be like when it works. And the flexibility that like putting in, neither of us are scared of hard work. Like we both have 2 jobs, we both have kids, we are both 90 mile an hour all of the time. But having that like just thought in your mind of the flexibility and the adventure and the change in life it can bring from making it work.
You've just got to have that vision and that goal. You've got to have that purpose that you are striving for. And I'm much more woo-woo than Polly is, but I did sit down.
That's why she needs me. Like I'm a little bit grounding. When she's floating off up here somewhere, I'm like grabbing at her leg, going back down to earth. No, lovely.
But in November I sat, and I think it was Danielle from Boss Babe, and I sat down and did a letter to my myself 5 years ago. So I looked back at what I was doing 5 years ago and how things were and what was going on and how old the kids were and what was happening in our lives. And then I wrote a little bit about what I was doing now. And then the primary thing was to write to my five-year self. So what I'm doing in 5 years, what's happening that day, what's happening that morning, what I'm going to do, what the kids are doing. And that is what I will be doing in 5 years from that day. And that you have to have that, because otherwise what are you doing it for? So I know what you'll be doing and I know what I'll be doing. I didn't write down what Rachel will be doing.
And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. And you have
replying
to work towards
something,
otherwise you're
replying to our voice notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, every time that Susie goes, Jesus, and them again.
I love it.
So yeah, I think having goals, and I've realized that life goals don't exist. I now work in 3 to 5 year chunks because things change, and I look back 10 years and I'd never imagine in 10 years time I'd be doing this now, and even in a year.
Yeah, look at what's changed for us in a year.
Yeah, and I think this is what we were hoping that we'd be doing in 4 years time. So actually things can sometimes progress, and also you've got to just run with it. And if we talked about momentum several times over the last year, and there's been times where it's easy to just go, okay, fine, we're done now. Like, that was great. What are we gonna, we'll do something else soon. And you have to build on momentum. You have to act quickly, not recklessly, but decisively and quickly in response to what's going on around you. And that's what I think COVID has shown those businesses that have thrived. And I know there's people that have really suffered. I know there's people that have really struggled. There's businesses that are never going to be the same again. But alongside that, there have been opportunities that have been unearthed by some people and in the same sector other people haven't unearthed those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading about a farmer the other day who has goats. Have you heard of this goat woman? So she's a goat farmer, and she sells ice cream, and her whole business is about people coming and having ice cream on the farm. And so the whole business was obviously completely on its knees, and nobody's buying goat's cheese because it's a luxury. And so she started renting her goats out for Zoom calls. So they were like a sort of addition to your business Zoom call. So you can rent a goat, and she has made thousands, more, like maybe millions, I don't know, but she's made an awful lot of money from renting out her goats to Zoom calls.
Wow.
I bet
like half an hour. You can choose your
welfare people are ready to sue her.
Oh, they love it. So you can choose your goat depending on your personality, and the goat like rocks up and just like is there in the Zoom call, and she's made a fortune. And so, there's something for everyone out there. I think it's just thinking in a different way.
Yeah, I gotta buy some goats. That's what I took from that. No, I'm just kidding.
Do it with your llamas, Rachel. Get your llamas.
I know. I gotta get some alpacas and llamas. I had a friend who did, but then she moved back to Florida. So, so definitely. I mean, going from balance to putting in the hard yads is what they would say. American football term, and then just making sure that you are taking the time to reflect and look back on what it was like 5 years ago, and projecting that into the future and everything that you can do in the next 5 years, being kind and realistic to yourself about what you can do in a year, because that's always overestimated, and then underestimated what you can do in a decade. So I always overestimate what I can do in a day. I'm like, I'm going to get this website up. I'm going to do this webinar. I'm going to do this ad. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do half of what I said I thought I could do. So finding that balance, and just realizing that at the end of the day, you're human and you still need to take care of your own human needs, I think is really important. So thanks for that reminder. Lovely. We've been chatting for quite a while now. Is there anything like last nuggets or anything else that you'd like to say to the audience?
I would say that if you have a thought that won't go away, if you have an idea that won't go away, just give it a go. Just get it out there, verbalize it, put it down on paper, talk to a few people, but choose who you talk to. I think that's not about trying to find the people that are going to agree with you. That's just choosing the people that understand and get what you're saying. And then just try something really raw. Anybody can make a website. Tech is not a barrier anymore. Anybody can make a website. Anybody can make a Facebook group. Anybody can put something out there. And just test it, see how it goes, and don't let it sit around for too long. Just bring it to the surface and get it out there, and you never know. But be prepared to put in the hard work, and I think anything is possible if you are passionate about what you're doing.
Oh, you're good at a final thought, aren't you?
That came out of nowhere.
It's a bit like Jerry Springer. I think connect, communicate, and find somebody to get on the roller coaster with you.
Love it. Do you have any tips on how to find people?
I think having a coach or a mentor is really important as well. I think some people really need that, and other people don't need that as much. But I think if you're doing something that you really don't know what you're doing, having somebody that bit further ahead of you in the game is a game changer, but not forever, for a period of time to get you over that next hurdle. And that's what got you here isn't going to get you there. But, you need different people at different times. And one of our mentors that's been with us from the beginning, she's incredibly valuable to us as a general mentor, but the specifics of how we're running our business now is completely different than it was when we started. So we have to recognize that and take that on board.
I think settle that kind of equilibrium as well, to learn from the people above you, but help the people behind you.
Definitely.
Like, be open and use your time to help, because if you can help others, then more people are likely to help you.
And always be nice to people. Always be just a good person. And some of the people closest to me now are people I've never met in person. Closest to me in business, and people like yourself, people that I look up to, and also a couple of I would say your phone a friend, your kind of 5 business phone a friends. 2 of those I met through social media, and they reached out to me, or I reached out to them because I connected with what they were saying or what they were doing, and they both live within an hour, and we've met up a couple of times, but I would pick them up and trust them with my life in business. Absolutely. So connect with people. If you like what they're doing, tell them, find some way of chatting to them, and learn from people that you admire.
And occasionally have a tranquilizer to hand, just in case you happen to have an absolutely,
Stop rolling your eyes. No, you're supposed to do that behind a door.
Hang on.
Love it.
So mid-launch, keep the tranquilizers away, but just after the launch, maybe just have one to hand.
That's so funny. Collaborate over competition, reach out to people who you admire and let them know, start up that conversation, relationship building, being kind always, finding the other people who are like-minded and growing in that space together. I think super, super important. Thank you so much for being on the Well and Calm Studios podcast today. It's always lovely to see you and hang out with you, and the both of you are such an inspiration, and I love working together and collaborating and seeing how we grow. So
global domination.
Yeah, global domination. Love it. I am going to end the recording there, so thank you so much. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks.
Excellent. We have got you as well, don't we?
I am here.
Sorry we were slightly late, my fault. I'm doing my other job today and I just had to get something done so I could skive.
No worries.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
No.
I miss Rachel so much. I still haven't signed. We are definitely signing up for Facebook. We just haven't done it yet.
Cool.
We're gonna do it tonight.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just let me know and I can double check and then we can get you booked in for the 6 weeks.
Are you
That'll be
okay?
really- Yeah, all good. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I just got off a call with Singapore and so I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, no, really.
Yeah.
Just got off a call in
One day.
Singapore.
I know. I'm loving the Instagram thing as well.
Thanks.
Is that with James?
No, that's just independent. That's kind of also tied to Singapore. It's hosted on their site. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so very cool. So just to let you know, we are already recording, but I will give this to my editor, so they will have behind the scenes stuff, but nothing that we don't want on there. And kind of how it works structurally is I'll just kind of introduce you guys, chat to you guys, anything that is on your heart or anything that you really want to talk about. Typically wellness, online business, wealth, and is there any, I typically have 3 to 5 topics that I ask my interviewees. So do you have 3 to 5 things that you know that you want to touch on?
I think balance and managing a business with kids in terms of, well, I mean, obviously we've got to be kind of honest, haven't we? And looking
I guess it depends what you want from it as well.
Yeah, what
What do you want?
I mean, we can be, because one of the things that makes us slightly different is, I think, managing the kids and being both like families with young children, and managing an online business. Obviously, the stage of the business we're at now and the fact that you were there from the beginning, and the fact that we've gone from the last year, you know, we can talk about that.
Okay.
And then I guess
we're an online business.
We're at a pivotal point where we need to start paying ourselves. So wealth is kind of
I was going to have a little
paramount in our life. You know, we are at the kind of crux of that point where it could go either way.
Cool. Yeah, we can just dive in then. Cool. I'm just going to put this in my eyeline real fast.
Look, it was the year yesterday that I did that really crap TV interview, but the second time we've ever done an interview.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Where's the year gone? I mean, flip.
Okay. Ready?